Hi everybody. Today we will talk about how to write a RESTful API with Express, Postgres, and async await in ES7. So firstly, you need to install the Express generator as here, and the view is an extended JavaScript. It is a view for the Express. And firstly, you need to install the Express generator as global so you can access this anywhere from your computer, from your Mac. So firstly, you can set the view as EGS, and my server is the application name. So this is a schema photo, and you can see the photo structure which is automatically generated. And you can also install by npm install and open this with Visual Studio Code. And for simply choose the directory, you can see the photo structure, and this is the main file. This main file contains some of the code for listen to the port, and the port number will be sent from the client, and you can change this to a variable, a constant, and define it with such as an arrow function, and you copy this code line to here before the code using this arrow function. So the arrow function here and the on arrow is called when it has the arrow. So this is the arrow function in ECMA script 6. Here it is automatic code, and you can also copy this code line, the implementation of the arrow event, and you can paste to here. Yes, you can paste to here. So you can also change the variable to constant. The constant means that the object does not change in this code. And you can also change the console to console log depending on your requirement. And so here you clear the terminal and change directory to the my server. So inside the my server you see the node module, and you can install the node monitor or the node mom. The node mom allow you to update the code without stopping the server, and you can change the node here to node mom. And you can also install the Babel preset environment and the Babel command line interface. So after having this, you can change a little bit in the package.json to see. So the node will be changed to node mom or node monitor and execute the Babel node. The Babel node allows you to compile or to transpile the JavaScript between Internet Explorer and Firefox, etc. So you start by typing npm start. So the server will listen to the client to the port, and when you press to here to refresh, you can see the output display the response to the HTTP request at the root request. After changing code, you can open the terminal and see. You can type rs again to update the code, and here you can see that new code has been updated using I am listening on port. So here is a database schema. We have an entity to do. A to do has many tasks, and one task belongs to one to do. So we have two tables, one table for to do, and the second table is task. So we have a relation between two tables. To do has many tasks, and one task belongs to one to do. Yes. Okay, so now we after having the database schema, you can create the model and the controller depending on the entity or the table here. So simply that you can use the framework and library like SQLizer. So in this lesson, I use the SQLizer, and the database is Postgres SQL database. So let's stop the server, clear the terminal, and inside this I can install the Postgres SQL. Because my server here is in macOS, so depending on your Linux, you can change it depending on your package management. So check for the version of Postgres. You see that 10.4 is my latest version of Postgres, and you can access to the Postgres database by firstly install the Launch. Launch is a package which allows you to start or stop database. You create a folder here, so we have a folder, and we copy the parameter list to this folder. Yes, and you can start and stop database using Launch by start load to launch this file, and you can change it a little bit to launch CTL, means the launch controller. So the service here has been loaded, so you can stop and start using this command line, and here it is started, so you can clear and open to this here. So we have no relation or no table, so you can change or assign the right to super user and set a password for this. So after setting the password, we can create the table. Here you can create a table for this. So we have a various type of attribute or field. So we have name, we have ID, we have priority, we have description, due date, etc. And you can create a table here by pasting this code line to create table. And you can see the list of table by typing dt, or you can slash dt. So you can see we have two table or relations. So you can also see the record the detail by select star from task and select star from to dos. So you quit the terminal and clear. So reconnect again. So in this time you can insert the data into the table. So we have a field here, and we have a data here. We have a data name, priority, description, due date, etc. You can insert it to the database, and you can check by typing select star from to dos to see the data. To check for the data has been inserted to the database. So we have a various record, and you can check now to see. You can also count for by using select count star from to dos. Yes, so we have 10 row. Yes, so here you can see in the task. Okay, here we can insert more tasks here, because the task here one to do has many tasks, and one task belong to one to do. So you can insert various record inside this, and you can select a star from task to list all the task object or the task record here. And you can also select star from task where the to-do ID is equal to a specific number. Yes, and you can also see the number of tasks where to-do ID is 5, and you install the package for SQLizer. SQLizer is a library which map on the record is the database to object or list of object, and you can install Postgres and Postgres store You install the SQLizer command line interface here, and for refactoring some of the code line, you can change the variable here, object variable to constant. Maybe for example, constant means that the object do not has been assigned to another object type, and in the app.js you can add more router to here. But inside the router, you can create more router by create a new file. So we have two router, one for to do and one for task. Okay, to do's.js. And in this, I initialize an object of Express. Okay, we have an object of Express, and you create an object of router initialized from the router class. So we have a various type of router here. We have router to insert database, and the router here it has a function with asynchronous function, and this function will run parallel or concurrent with any other function, and you export the router object. This router object has been exported, so you can import it here. So in the main file or in the app.js, you can import the to-do router object from the todos.js that you have installed. So here you can use the to-do link as a to-do router, and you clear and rerun the program by npm start. So here it is listening from 3000, so you can send. Okay, so you can see that in this case we have a message that responds to the client that you send a post request, and you can create a new to do here. In this code line, you create a new to do object, and you have to connect the database and define a model. A model is like a table in the database, so it presents to the schema or the table in a database. Yes, so you create a new folder for storing database object and a folder to store the model objects. Yes, so we have two folder. The first folder we have database.js. Inside this, I define an object, a global object of database. I initialize a SQLize object init from the SQLize class. So we have the database name as an input parameter. We have the username, and we have the password. Okay, so we have three parameter, Postgres username and password. So we can change the maximum and minimum connection at the same time, and we have the timeout for about 30 seconds. So, and I export the operation, the operator here. So we have two objects which can be exported. It means SQLizer and OP or operator. So two objects here are exported to another file. So inside the task, inside the model, I can import this and use. So we define a SQLizer that import from the database, and it is a database object, and this object existing from the lifetime of the application. Yes, and we also import the operator from here from the file I have just defined. So we can use require to the part to the file part of the JavaScript file. Okay. So here inside the task, I can define the task model. The task model define a model that depending to the model in the database. So we have the model name, for example, task. Remember that we have task and we have to do. So here we have a various attribute here. We have 4 attribute of 4 field, and this attribute will be defined here according to the type. I can use string, integer, boolean, and the timestamp for means that the attribute updated it and created it is unavailable. Yes, at this time these fields are unavailable, and you can export the task model, and the task model here contain many functions to insert, update, delete to the database. And this is the todo.js. The todo.js, we do the same as a task, but it is a to-do model. So we do the same like here. We also have the name and the attribute. Here we have priority as tiny integer, we have description as text, we have name as string, etc. And we will also disable timestamp. Yes, and this is a relation. We have one task belong to one to do, and we have one to do has many tasks, and we have a two relation, and we define this relation here by two kinds. We have a has many, to do has many tasks, and tasks belong to one to do. With the foreign key is to do ID. So in this I also have to import the task model, and we define some of the function for insert data, and we define the to do. We import the to do model inside this file, and we import the task into this side, because here we are now in the router, and we have some of the model here. So we have a model to do, and we have a model task. So in the insert, I can add try catch block. The try catch block will give you the code in try block when it is success, and otherwise if the result is false, it will run in the error block. Okay, so inside this code line we can get the input parameter from the body. So we extract using request.body, and we extract name, priority, description, due date from the object of body. Yes. So after having this value, you can add it to the input parameter of the create function. So here name, and the key is name, a value is name. So you can change this as sort name and priority. You convert the priority to integer, and we can add description and due date as the input parameter to create a new to-do object. So this is a field. Means that you can select various field. Here we select 1, 2, 3, 4 field, like the select function, select ABC from table name, etc. After having the new to do before the line 10, we can check for the output. The new to do's object has available. It will respond to the client that we have result is okay, and the data is an object that we have just created. So now after created this object inside the database, I can see the data, the new data here is here. What about this? Inside the case, I can also add the code for error, and here the code for when the new to do is unavailable, means that it is failed. Instead of new to do is failed, and print out the detail error. Yes. And after npm start to rerun the server application, you see that we have some error. We have the error dialect. Dialect means that you must specify which database you use. So here dialect, here we have a Postgres, and you can use MySQL, Postgres, etc. And the host here is the IP address of the host. Here I use a local host. So we see that the string-based operators are now deprecated because you must use the symbol base, not the string base. So you can set this option by set the operator or alias to false. It will allow you to add the string base. You run the npm start to see here. Yes. And no error display, and you can run. Yes. So here you see that the SQLizer database error because the priority are not nil, because here in this I have just add the priority to 3 here, but it violate. Why? Because here I type the wrong spell. So you change this to priority and press send again, and sending again to change the value to this and press send. Okay, so we see that this is a new the new object of to do which has an ID of 12. You can copy this ID value and select its database by select start from to do where ID is equal to 12. So we have one row. Cannot set header because the server have just sent more than one response to here. So delete this because we only have one response for one request. And after send, yes, you can change the value of name 3334, and after sending this, we see that. So we have here. Okay, you can check in the database by select start from to do where ID is equal to 14. So this is the value has just been added to the database, and move to this. You can add more API to this. If you want to update the data in database, you can send a put request with a response. Here we have an arrow function with async or asynchronous. So inside this I can get the ID from the input link. So we have the ID, and you can get more attribute from the request.body. So using this request.body, you add it into try-cat block. Inside the try-cat block, you send the command of file on. This will file all the to-do in the list, and the input parameter here is a condition and the attribute. So we select these attributes. You can also you can select only 1, 2, and 3 attributes depending on your requirement in the client, and the condition here inside the where. So you can where ID is equal to ID. So you check for the length of the to do. So we have a two type. If you have the to do array, you can iterate the to do, and you update one by one. You can update one by one. After updates one, you can check for the next before the next. Okay, so here the checking here means that if the new parameter is null or undefined, it will use the previous value. So it will allow you to update only a valuable value, not null value. After updating, you can rest.json to respond to the client. The rest.json respond data to the client with the result as a string. Result is okay or false. The data object is a list of to do. Respond to the client. Okay. So the to do here, you can update, and otherwise you can see so that cannot find to do to update. Another way to in the cache arrow, you can also show the detail arrow. And now you select start from to do's to see the output. So we have the output here, 9, and now I want to change the value for the ID 9 of to do. After sending this, we see the new value as a priority, the description and the name is new value, and you can check by select start from to do where ID is 9, and we have the new value has been updated to here. So if you uncheck this, and the value will be show here and unchanged because you insert the null value. So it is unchecked. Okay, when you uncheck, the new value is here. If you want to delete a to do, you can send a delete request, and the delete request here you can do the same. You can get the ID from the input parameter, and inside the try cat we call the destroy function. The destroy function is a static function of the task as a model, and here if you want to delete this, you have to delete the task belong to the to do. So you have to delete task firstly and then to do. So here we call the destroy function. The destroy function returns the number of deleted row, and here is a condition. Inside the where clause we have the condition to check for the ID, which has a value of the input ID. And after having the number of deleted row, you can respond success, and if error, you respond error. So the error means that deleted to do false, and you display to the user the detail error. And here after sending this, you can see that delete a to do successfully. So what can you do? You can check in this. You select start from to do where ID is equal to 9, and after pressing enter, you see that no file because you have just deleted from the API. The next here is a query data from database, and how to query. Simply sending a GET request as a GET request to the router to do's. You can query on the data by calling the function of file on. You can file on a way to do file on, and with the attribute here. So you can rest JSONs to the screen to the client that we successful query the to do's from the database, and catch here you show the error. This is quite simple. So next you can do and check in the Postman, or you can check the GET request in the browser, like you copy and paste to the Chrome or Firefox or etc. And here after pressing here, we have the link of the router here. After sending, we see that we have a list of to do. So we have a list of to do in an array of objects, and the message So you can also display the length or number of records you have by calling the length property of the array. Yes. So we have the length here 12 or 12 records. Next you can we also have the get by ID or get request that return to only one object. So get by ID means that you select the star from the table where ID is equal to input ID. So the input ID is transmitted to the parameter, and after getting the ID from the parameter, I can check by here. So inside the try catch block, you can query or select on the to-dos object which has the value of ID as the input parameter of ID, and so inside the try catch you can add the code to here, and we have a list by calling file await. Await means that this function must be finished before running the next line, but all of this code line is inside an asynchronous function, and here it means that this to-do table join to task. It means that one to-do has many tasks, and so inside the to-do we have an attribute of tasks. Yes, and you can see it like a tree. One to-do has many tasks, or one to-do has a property or an attribute of tasks, and the task here is an array. So if the to-do is available, you can show the data, otherwise it shows the blank data. Okay, so catch object, catch arrow here, you can okay, select here from so pressing. Okay, so we have on the to-do with the specific ID. So we have it with the specific ID and the task detail. It means that one to-do has many tasks. So here we have 1, 2, 3 tasks. By checking this in the database, you can insert in the database. You select from star from to-do where ID is equal to 2, and you check the star from task where to-do ID is equal to 2. Okay, so we have 3 tasks for one to-do. So we have here the 3 tasks. Yes, this is very easy to understand. Okay, so what about the task router? And the task router here means that you do the same as to-do.js. We do the same as to-do.js. We import to-do, we import task model, we create a router, and I export the router as a global object. Okay, and after try and catch, you can get the input parameter from body, call the function of create a new task object, and display the field as to-do name is finished. Okay, so the field of the attribute is the same, and you can also do similar like here, but remember that you have to add the to-do router here by copy and paste and change to task router, and you define the task router to the application. The application uses router with the task router, and after changing this, you can see that we have a detail task with a name to do like here, and after select star from task with ID is 23, we have a one object like here, and here so the parameter will display. So what about the update? Update is a put method. The put method will similarly get the parameter from the body and calling the file function with the condition and checking for the output parameter and send the response to the client. Okay, so we have the same process like in the to do, but this is more simple because you have to concern about the to do because the here is many to one relation. So what about this? I can use this. I will use this 23. The 23 ID of the task here. I change the value of the detail object, the task object. Change the detail task object to SSH and the to do here. Finish. Yeah. Okay. And after sending the request, we see that this is the new or the updated object. So here, after selecting the task where ID is equal to 23, you see the detail object like here. So what about the delete? So delete is quite simple because you have to destroy only one arrow of the task array, and with the ID is a condition. The ID here is a condition. So await means that this function will be finished after doing the next line of code await. So 23, and after press send, you see delete a task successfully. So for checking this, you open the database and select stuff from the task, or select from task where the ID here. Okay, and what about the query? You can query the data by copy this code line and okay, you can sort by ascending. Ascending means that A, B, C first and X, Y, Z as the final. So yes, the order here from A to Z means that ascending sort. You can use descending sort. You can DESC. So after successful, okay, you can press by pressing sending. Okay, so we have a list here from A by some here code, some drinking go. Okay, so it is displayed as an alphabet from A to Z. Okay, so if you want to inverse the list, you can change it to DESC. So what about the query by ID? You can query the data by ID by input the ID to up the task, and you check the same as with the previous lesson about to do. It is the same. So it's more easier than the to do. Okay. So select start from here from task. So which task do you want to use? 10, maybe 10. So I will use this with the ID is 10. So change this to 10 in the get parameter, get request. So here it says search some file to Citer and query list of tasks successfully. Okay, good. And you can query by to do ID. So the to do ID means that you search for the to do ID, and this will return to an array because the task here you can have multiple tasks for one to do because it is one too many. So select start from task with to do. Here we have a three tasks for one to do. So by pressing this to 6 and press sending, you see that the output per result is here as we expected. Okay, so this is the end of my lesson today about how to create a RESTful API with Express Postgres ES7 script 6 and 7 with a single wait. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.